I'm 85 years old, and I've watched most of the people I grew up with die before me. Friends who were younger than me, gone. People who were stronger than me, gone. Men and women who retired full of energy, with big plans to travel, to be there for their grandchildren, to finally enjoy life. Gone within just a few years of leaving work. And here's what has stayed with me all these years. Most of them didn't die from rare diseases. They didn't die from freak accidents. They died from small mistakes. Ordinary, everyday habits that seemed completely harmless. Choices they made without ever thinking twice. Patterns that looked totally normal, even healthy from the outside. And yet, quietly and slowly, those habits stole years from their lives. Today, I want to tell you what those mistakes are. 6 of them. 6 patterns I've watched take people before their time. People who had no idea what was happening until it was far too late. If you can recognize and avoid them, your future self will be deeply grateful. But before we get into the list, I need to say something important. Something most people get completely wrong about aging. The thing that truly ages you, the real culprit, is not your birthday. It's not the number on your driver's license. It's your habits. Age is just a number. Habits are your destiny. Now, let's talk about the first mistake, because it's one that most people make without even realizing it, and it starts the moment they retire. Mistake number 1, you stop moving. When a lot of people retire, the first thing they do is sit down, and I understand why. You worked hard your entire life, decades of early mornings and long hours, showing up even when you didn't want to, grinding through years that were demanding, exhausting, and relentless. So retirement feels like permission. Finally, you can rest. I've earned this, people tell themselves. I don't have to do anything anymore. And so the daily walks get shorter. The exercise disappears. The trips outside become less and less frequent. The body gets slower, then slower, then slower still. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Your body runs on a very simple rule. Use it or lose it. Muscles follow that rule. So does your heart, your lungs, and most critically, your brain. Research is clear on this. Older adults who are chronically inactive face a significantly higher risk of early death compared to those who stay consistently active. And the frightening part? The decline doesn't arrive all at once. It happens one skipped walk at a time. Today you skip the afternoon stroll. Tomorrow you take the elevator instead of the stairs. A year from now, you can barely make it to the end of the block. That's how it works. Slowly, quietly, without alarm bells. But if you think inactivity is dangerous, the next mistake might surprise you even more. Mistake number 2, you eat past the point of full. Here's something nobody wants to hear. One of the most dangerous things you can do as you get older is eat too much. Retirement brings more free time, more social meals, more snacking, more food around, more often. And the body you're living in at 65 is not the same body you had at 35. The metabolism that once handled everything you threw at it, it's changed. What used to burn off easily now accumulates. What used to pass through now settles in. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, cardiovascular problems. Many of these conditions don't come from nowhere. They build quietly and steadily over years of eating more than the body actually needs. I had a friend who used to say, "A good appetite is a gift." He truly believed that. He was proud of how much he could eat, proud that he still enjoyed his meals. But by his mid-70s, his blood sugar was dangerously out of control. His blood pressure was a problem. His cholesterol levels were through the roof. Eventually, even walking became difficult. He didn't get sick from starving himself. He ate himself into decline. The longest living people in the world share a trait that doesn't get nearly enough attention. They are not the ones who eat the most. They are the ones who know when to stop. Because a body needs nourishment, not a burden. But there is one mistake that's even more widespread than overeating, and almost nobody takes it seriously enough. Mistake number 3, you don't sleep well night after night. When you're young, you can recover from bad sleep. You stay up all night, feel terrible the next day, and bounce back. Your body absorbs the hit and moves on. But as you get older, sleep changes its function entirely. Sleep is no longer just rest. Sleep is repair. It's when your body fixes cellular damage, when your brain clears out waste products, when your immune system resets and rebuilds. And for millions of older adults, that repair process is broken. Trouble falling asleep, waking up at 3 in the morning and staring at the ceiling, never feeling truly rested no matter how many hours pass. And most people's response to this? That's just what happens when you get old. But that's often not true. Chronic poor sleep dramatically increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and cognitive decline, including dementia. It weakens the immune system in ways that accumulate and compound over time. Here's what I've noticed over the years. People schedule their annual physicals without fail. They check their blood pressure regularly. They worry about cholesterol numbers, but they almost never examine their sleep. They lose sleep worrying about their health, without realizing that poor sleep is the health problem. A person who sleeps badly, year after year, is running their body at a continuous deficit, and at some point, the debt comes due. Now we come to the mistake that most people least expect to see on a list like this. Mistake number 4, you let yourself become isolated. Most people think loneliness is an emotional experience, a feeling, a mood, something you sit with for a while and eventually move through. But loneliness is also a physical health condition, and it is one of the most dangerously underestimated threats to longevity that exists. After retirement, the circle shrinks. Friends move away or pass on. The colleagues you saw every single day, gone. Your children are deep in their own lives, their own pressures, their own schedules. The phone rings less. The calendar empties out. The house gets quieter. At first, you adjust. It seems fine, but slowly, something shifts. You stop wanting to go out. You talk less. You see fewer people. You start to feel like the world is happening somewhere else, without you. And then, almost without noticing, the body begins to follow. Research has found that chronic, long-term loneliness carries health risks that are comparable to smoking regularly over an extended period of time. Think about that. We have entire public health campaigns about cigarettes, warning labels, social pressure, years of awareness building. But almost no one talks about the danger of an elderly person spending month after month in near total isolation. We are not built to live alone. We need conversation. We need connection. We need to feel needed. I've watched people with no serious physical conditions deteriorate rapidly, simply because the social fabric of their life had quietly fallen away. They didn't lose their health first. They lost their reason to keep going. If that feels sobering, the next mistake is even more common, and almost no one recognizes it in themselves. Mistake number 5, you stop learning. At some point after 60, many people start saying a particular phrase, "I'm old." And once you start saying it, you start living it. The learning stops. The trying stops. The openness to new experiences stops. Here's the issue. Your brain behaves exactly like a muscle. When you challenge it, when you push it, expose it to new ideas, force it to adapt, it responds. It stays sharp. It maintains function. When you stop challenging it, it begins to slow down, to stiffen, to lose capacity. The people who live the longest and who live the best tend to share one quiet trait. They stay curious. They pick up new skills and hobbies. They meet different kinds of people. They're willing to feel like a beginner again, even when it's uncomfortable. Their minds remain active, engaged, and alive. Compare that to people who fall into total routine. Same conversations every day. Same opinions never revisited. Same activities never varying. And after a few years, something dims, not just mentally. The whole person becomes smaller, less present, less fully alive. The body will age. That is simply nature. There is nothing to fight there. But the mind aging before its time, becoming rigid and closed and still, very often that is a choice. And now we come to what I believe is the most dangerous mistake of all. Mistake number 6, you ignore what your body is telling you. Many older people carry a habit they think of as a virtue, toughness. Something aches, push through it. Your chest feels tight, wait and see. You've been dizzy in the mornings, it'll probably pass. You're short of breath climbing stairs. Well, that's just age. I'm not going to make a big deal out of nothing. But here is what I have seen again and again over more years than I can count. The people who died too soon, many of them had warnings. Their bodies had been sending signals for months, sometimes for years. Small signs that something was shifting, something that needed attention. Heart disease does not announce itself with fanfare. Cancer does not send a formal notice. Vascular disease builds quietly in the background, out of sight. And by the time the symptoms become impossible to ignore, by the time there is no more waiting and seeing, the window for early intervention has very often already closed. The body never collapses suddenly without reason. It tries to warn you. multiple times, in different ways, in languages you have to be willing to understand. Most people simply aren't listening. They wait until it becomes a crisis, and then they go to the hospital. And sometimes that wait is the thing that costs them everything. So why don't most people live past 85? The answer, after all I've seen, is not complicated. It is not luck. It is not fate. It is not even primarily genetics. It is this: small choices made daily, compounding over decades. Stopping physical movement, eating past what the body needs, tolerating chronic, unaddressed poor sleep, allowing isolation to quietly settle in, letting the mind go still and unchallenged, dismissing the body's warning signals. None of these feel dangerous in the moment. That is exactly what makes them so lethal. The truly dangerous things in life rarely feel urgent. They don't arrive like emergencies, loud and impossible to miss. They arrive like ordinary days, unremarkable, forgettable, seemingly harmless. And they quietly take a little from you each time. A little less energy here, a little less strength there, a little less connection, a little less clarity. Until one day you look up and realize something has been taken from you, and you can't pinpoint exactly when it began. So I am not going to tell you to obsess over living to 100. That's the wrong question to be asking. The right question is this: of these 6 mistakes, how many am I making right now? Be honest with yourself. That's all that's required. If you can correct one, your trajectory begins to shift. If you can correct 3, your body will feel the difference. If you can avoid all 6 consistently over time, you may come to understand something that took me decades to see clearly. A long and healthy life is not a matter of luck or mystery. It is the accumulated result of better choices, made consistently over time, day after day, year after year. People are afraid of growing old, but what I've learned at 85, having watched so many people leave before they should have, is that old age itself is not the enemy. The real danger is moving through years of signals and warnings and choosing again and again not to see them. Because what determines how long a person lives is rarely what happens on the final day. It is what they did every ordinary, unremarkable day for decades before that.